We've only had our pool now for about 3 years now, and I've only been using robot pool cleaners for about a year and a half. But I've quickly learned that there's a big difference between a basic robot pool cleaner and a top-of-the-line one like the new Aiper Scuba X1 Pro Max. I got the first look at this unit a couple months back at CES 2025, but I've been using it for the last couple weeks, so let's take a closer look at what this thing can do. If you're looking for something that comes with all the bells and whistles, the X1 Pro Max definitely won't disappoint on that front. As you can tell from the design, this thing is positioned as a top-of-the-line product. I mean, just look at it. It comes with a carbon fiber handle with some rose gold trim around those vents on the back, and even the Aiper logo on top. And if you look closely, you can even spot some gold flecks or sparkles in the body of the unit itself. But really, it's not about the look. Aiper has packed this thing with incredible technology, up to 40 different sensors that allow it to give you a 3D map of the pool, so that rather than blindly roaming the floor as it's cleaning and then bumping into the wall and then changing directions, it knows exactly where it is at all times to make sure that it cleans every last inch of the floors, walls, even the water line, so that you don't get any of that dirt and scum buildup along the edges of your pool. But since there are other robot pool cleaners that do pretty much everything I've already described, the X1 Pro Max takes things one step further by skimming the surface of the pool water as well, cleaning up leaves, pollen, dead bugs, or anything else that might be floating on the water itself before it gets a chance to sink down to the bottom. I don't know about you, but at our pool, everyone seems to care a little bit more about what's floating on the surface of the water rather than what's underneath it. And even though our pool isn't huge, it still takes 10 to 12 minutes walking around the pool with the skimmer, cleaning everything off before anyone wants to get into the water. And it doesn't really help the fact that our pool is located right underneath a couple really massive trees that constantly have leaves, pine needles, bugs, pollen, and anything else falling into the pool. This pool skimmer function here really isn't that fast, but all you have to do is turn it on, throw it in the water, and let it do its thing. And with the battery life being as good as it is, it can get up to 15 hours of constant runtime while skimming the surface of the water. I threw it in, let it run about a half a day, pulled it out, and it still had a 30% battery life left, which I have to say is pretty impressive. And if that's not enough, Aiper's come up with the Hydrocomm Pro, which works with all of its Scuba X1 series robot pool cleaners. This isn't included though, so you will have to buy it separately, but it does double as a smart water quality monitor and an underwater communication hub for its robot pool cleaners. For those who don't know, robot pool cleaners can't communicate with your smartphone app while they are working underwater. This is because water has this really annoying tendency to block Wi-Fi signals. So to get around that, Aiper's come up with the Hydrocomm Pro, a solar-powered buoy for your pool with built-in sensors to monitor your pool's pH levels, temperature, ORP, electrical conductivity, and TDS, while also allowing you to control the X1 Pro Max while it's underneath the water. Say the unit's in the middle of a cleaning cycle and all you want to do is have it come back up to the surface. All you have to do is press the return button in the app or even press the button on the Hub Pro itself and it'll come back right up to the surface and you can pull it out of the water. Or you can actually change the cleaning cycle itself. If it's cleaning the floor and you want it to clean the walls, you can do that right there thanks to the communication hub. Having a smart water quality monitoring system built in is great as well, though it's not going to fully replace having to use those test strips in your pool to make sure that your levels are perfect, but you'll definitely need to do it less often since you'll always have your pH, ORP, and TDS levels on hand that you can make any adjustments on the fly with the chemicals that you need for your pool. So to see how well the X1 Pro Max performs in the real world, I dumped in some leaves and some sand into the bottom of the pool, turned it on, and then threw it into the water. The first thing that it does is map out the bottom of the pool by tracing the perimeter. And once it's done with that, it then starts cleaning the bottom of the pool, going back and forth in some pretty straight lines. Once the bottom of the pool was cleaned, it started on the walls and the water line to make sure that there isn't any dirt or grime buildup there. As I mentioned before, the X1 Pro Max does scrub above the waterline as well, since that's usually where you get a lot of that grime buildup over time, making sure that this is as clean as possible. And then finally, it started skimming the surface of the pool to clean up the pollen and leaves that it had thrown in. I was pretty impressed with the results here with the standard mesh filter that allowed the X1 Pro Max to easily capture the sand that had thrown into the bottom of the pool. But if you want a more thorough cleaning of the water itself, you can swap in the Micromesh ultrafine filter that captures particles as small as 3 microns, allowing it to filter up to 8,500 gallons of water per hour. And the nice thing here is that the Micromesh ultrafine filter comes included in the box. It's not a separate add-on, and it attaches easily to the filter frame once you remove the standard mesh, and then you're set to go. The built-in filter basket is actually pretty big, coming in at 5 liters, so it can definitely hold a lot of debris. And if you're using this to clean out your pool every other day or maybe just twice a week, you probably only have to empty this once after you're done with the cleaning cycle. But since I threw in a lot of debris into the pool for this, I actually had to empty out the filter 2 to 3 times before it was finished up with the full cleaning cycle for my pool. Thankfully, cleaning it out is incredibly simple. Just dump out the debris and then rinse it off with a hose. The cleaning cycle that takes the longest with this unit is definitely the surface skimming, but that's more of an issue of physics and the wind rather than the product itself. It opens up its mouth here right at the top, moves along slowly on the surface of the water so that it doesn't move the debris out of its way, but instead swallows it up into the wastebasket on the inside. Just keep in mind, if there's any wind or movement of the water, it is going to take a little bit longer to clean up as the debris just moves around on its own. But you probably won't have such a big mess as I started with here, especially if you're using this a couple times a week to clean the surface of the water. Now, after all of that, you might think that we're finally done here, but there is one final piece to talk about, and it's one of my favorites, the charging caddy. Unlike a lot of other devices in Aiper's lineup that only come with a charging stand, the X1 Pro Max actually has a charging caddy with some pretty beefy wheels so that you can easily move it around your yard, position it perfectly by the side of your pool before you throw it in, and then place it there when you pull it out again. And then when you're done, just wheel it back to your garage or your shed and then plug it in and it starts charging. Now, this might sound like something that you really don't need, but after you realize how heavy units like this actually are, the charging caddy is easily one of my favorite things about the X1 Pro Max. All in all, I am pretty impressed with the Aiper Scuba X1 Pro Max, and it definitely delivers on its promise of making pool maintenance and cleaning a whole lot easier. Cleaning the floors, walls, waterline, and the surface of the water all on its own. Even the Aiper Hydro Hub Pro is impressive, giving you underwater communications with the pool cleaner, but also that remote water monitoring system as well, making Aiper one of the leaders in the pool cleaning robot space for sure. If you're looking to buy the Aiper Scuba X1 Pro Max, it typically retails at $2,999, but I'm going to have the best price available for you with a discount code and link in the video description below, so make sure you check that out. If you have any questions for me and how it's been going for the last couple of weeks, be sure to drop those in the comments and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks to Aiper for sponsoring this video. I'll catch you in the next one.